I'm very, very delighted to welcome to our virtual stage the wonderful Elyvin. So Elyvin, over to yourself. Round of applause. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much, Sarah. And hello, everyone. I am Elyvin from Malawi, the warm heart of Africa, and I'd like to welcome you to the warm heart of Africa. I hope you can all hear me and you can also see my screen. So let me start by introducing myself. I work for Export Development Fund, but I am a member of the Nyasa Mining Cooperative, and also I work with Malawi Women in Mining. I work in collaboration with Malawi Women in Mining. So today I'm going to share about building trust from the source to the market, which is something that is quite key for us as Export Development Fund. So just to share a bit of context, Export Development Fund, it's an institution or it's a company that is formed under the Reserve Bank of Malawi, and with the main interest of generating or supporting generation of forex or foreign currency in the country. So one of the initiatives that we're doing is to buy gold and gemstones from artisan small-scale mining under the precious metals and minerals. So that's why you see that today I'm wearing a hat of Export Development Fund. Those of you that remember me 2 years ago, I came in as a Nyasa Mining Cooperative, but I also have a background or history of working with Oxfam Action Aid, mainly under the mining governance. So now I've fully transformed into artisan and small-scale mining. So maybe you may be wondering that why is Malawi interested in artisanal small-scale mining? It's because for a long time, people have been mining gemstones, beautiful gemstones. In my next slide, I'll show you just a few of the gemstones that we have in Malawi. We have aquamarine, we have sapphire, we have tourmalines, we have rhodolite garnet, and ruby. So these gemstones, they are quite of high value. And unfortunately, most of these have been smuggled out of the country because there was no proper or there was no formal market for marketing these gemstones. And unfortunately, as I think I presented also in my last presentation 2 years ago, most of these gemstones are exported in their rough form, of which now value it's not really reflected, unlike if they were to be value added, like in the other photos that you can see. Malawi also has a good number of low value gemstones, which we call them the colored stones, that in their raw form they would not mean a lot. If you can see in that slide, the pink stones down there, the picture down there, that's the raw form of rose quartz. But if you do some tumbling and value addition, you see that there's also some value that is added to it. So us as Export Development Fund, we're exploring different opportunities of exporting gemstones in rough, but most importantly, in value-added form so that we can help generate forex for the country. Why is this very crucial to us? Malawi as a country now does not have so many products that it is exporting, but we demand a lot of products from outside the country. So our foreign currency reserves are quite low. For example, in the past few years, we've experienced shortage of drugs, shortage of vaccine. Apparently, we're experiencing shortage of fuel. It's unfortunate, we have to be on the queue for about 3-4 hours just to fuel up your car. So these are the serious challenges that we're facing as a nation. So as Export Development Fund, we're aggressively looking for opportunities to generate forex for the country so that we can meet the basic needs for Malawians. Hence our passion, or even hence my passion in seeing that the mineral resources or the gemstones indeed contribute positively. So today I'm going to talk about generating trust, because for us to be able to penetrate into the market for gold and gemstones, we need to build trust. The first aspect is to look at the source. In the first photo here, you can see a local woman who is panning gold for her to earn a living. So if you're building trust, you look at different levels. What is my interest? What is the interest of the people that I'm reaching out to? And what is the interest of the country? So for example, I'll use the case of this woman. This woman, her interest or her basic need is for her to meet the needs or the demands of our household. So what do we do as Export Development Fund to make sure that we meet her needs? Do we have the right policies in the country that will help this woman to meet her needs? Do we have the right environment that will protect this woman to meet her needs? I'm raising all this because most of the times when you talk about artisan and small scale mining, people think about it, people, they think that it's something criminal, it's bad, it's illegal. Can you please go and arrest these people because they are illegally mining? But look at this woman, she's doing this so that she can find food for the day. In my role as a manager for the precious metals and minerals under Export Development Fund, we have visited these women several times, and when we are buying gold from them, the moment we buy 1 gram, which is 1 gram, it translates into about, we buy them at almost $60. But it's also rare for her to find a gram when she works the whole day. She'll find 1 fraction of a gram, so you see her only getting $6. And when the moment she gets the $6, immediately she goes to the nearby market to buy food for her children, and then she takes that to the house. So how do we build trust that this woman should come and sell her gold to us, unlike the illegal traders? So through our participation in the market as Export Development Fund, we started buying gold from artisan and small scale miners in May 2021, and after the president said mandated us to start buying gold. When we started buying, the illegal traders or the foreigners, they were buying from these women at a price of $20 per gram. We started by introducing a price of $35 per gram. Immediately, the illegal traders, they raised their price to $40,000 per gram. We tried to increase it to $45,000 per gram. The illegal traders were buying from them at $50 per gram. We then eventually went to $55 per gram against the international price of $60 per gram at that time. And you could see that the illegal traders were buying at $60 to $65 per gram. All they were trying was to block Export Development Fund not to buy from the artisan small scale miners. I can say that somehow they were achieving, but on the other hand, I personally was now happy that people are able to see the true value of the minerals that they were buying. So for us coming into the market, there was a lot of negative narrative that the government is promoting buying of gold from the illegal miners, referring to these women. But in actual sense, it is the foreigners and the middlemen that were illegal in this process, and they were blocking us. So building trust was not easy, but eventually after 6 months, the communities appreciated the efforts of Export Development Fund, because now they saw the actual value of gold when now they were being bought at $60 per gram. And most of these, they could also opt not to sell to those that are offering them higher prices, but still came to us because they saw that EDF has helped to review, Export Development Fund has helped to review the actual value of the mineral. So all I'm trying to say here is that building trust in the mining communities is not easy. It takes time, but you still have to be patient. You're going to meet a number of obstacles, but you don't give up, because we're looking at what are the needs of these people that we are trying to reach out to these women that we're trying to reach out to. And this code, when you take it from the locals and it goes through all the value chain up to the end user, will the end user be happy to hear the story of where that gold or gemstone was coming from? Or it's something very pathetic that they will now feel bad that there were rights that were abused, there were so many things that happened along the way. And also just to mention that when we're coming into this sector, there were a lot of abuses to women that were happening at that time. Others, they were not being paid fairly. Others, they were being sexually harassed or even exploited and all those things. And we came in trying to promote responsible sourcing. So, however, we don't rule out the participation of the middlemen. So in the third photo, you can see that those are women in mining, the women that you not find actually at the mine, but they are also in the value chain. So we also look at the needs of such kind of women that, okay, how are they participating in the value chain? They are sourcing from the locals, they will act as middlemen, and they also sell to Export Development Fund. It is good for us also to work with this category of people, because they help us to reach the bigger volumes faster, because they are willing to be on the ground for longer days, of which maybe sometimes us with our capacity we cannot manage, but then they aggregate in bigger volumes, they sell to us, and then for us we identify the international market. So my talk today was basically about building trust from the source through the value chain and going until the end. And most importantly, us as Export Development Fund, we are building the trust further by also identifying international market that they should buy from these women. And the best with Export Development Fund is that, or us participating partly as government, is that we are practicing responsible sourcing. We have our story narrated everywhere, well written, and we are able to say, to give a picture or to describe where we are sourcing our stones from. So another key important thing that we have seen in the value chain of artisanal small scale mining is that traceability. It's quite key. Traceability of every mineral that you are selling, that you're accessing and selling, and therefore taking it to the international market. Our hope is that moving forward, you see Malawi benefiting from its natural resources, benefiting from its minerals. We feel like it's quite unfair that we should be lacking forex when we have a lot of high value products such as the gemstones and gold. So thank you, Sarah. That's what I really wanted to share today about building trust from the source until the end.
Amazing. Thank you so, so much, Elyvin. That is just, as always, truly brilliant. So round of applause, everybody, for all the way from Malawi, the wonderful, wonderful Elyvin. Fantastic. Elyvin, I'm going to bring Ludovic straight into the conversation because we've been messaging quite extensively, actually, over the last few minutes. Ludovic, do you want to pose that first question that you had?
Thanks, Elyvin. Nice to see you again. I thought it was really interesting how you sort of went through a pricing, conflict, a bidding war almost, and saw the end goal. What I'd like to know is the EDF initiative still going strong? And are you able to achieve external pricing that incentivizes? Because if you had to go up, then is the profitability still there? Because of course, if it is, we're talking about sustainable long-term operations. If it's not, how can we prove that?
Okay. No, thank you very much, Elyvin, for that question. To be honest, the price competition is not sustainable, and it's something that that is hitting us hard. So as of now, we are buying gold at a loss. I have to be honest, we are buying gold at a loss, but our only benefit is that we're able to convert our Malawian kwacha into US dollars or into foreign currency. So our participation in the gold trading is mainly to convert our kwacha value into foreign currency. You may be asking how we are doing this. It's because we buy gold at our Malawian currency, Malawi kwacha, we're buying from the locals, and then when we are trading it on the international market, that's when we get the equivalent US dollars. So sometimes it tends to be cheaper than borrowing the same dollar from another bank international. So for gold, we are not really operating at a profit, but also, as I said, that we started in 2021 where our volumes were quite low, and then they started picking up. After the price competition, we stopped at a certain stage, and because we had built trust from the local communities and from some of the middlemen, because of that trust, then they keep on selling their gold to us, and we have brought in a stiff competition to the smugglers or to those that illegally exporting gold. So that's one thing. And on the other hand, we're also implementing a gemstones project where we are buying high value gemstones and low value gemstones. As much as there's competition in the gemstone sector, but gemstones is it's the one that is that deems to be profitable because we're able to source it from the locals at a lower price and then sell it in international market at a fair price. And this is now helping us in two ways. One, to generate forex for the country, and on the other hand, have a small profit. And this profit, because we are buying using taxpayers' money on behalf of the government, then we are also bringing profits to the citizens of Malawi. So that's how we most less like the cost benefit analysis, we are able to maximize our profits from the gemstone sector, unlike the gold, which is mostly with international price that are fixed and can't be negotiated.
Thanks very much. I think what's really interesting there is that, as we were discussing a couple of weeks ago, whatever happens to gold today is the basis that we can take forward to address informal mining in CRMs, which is actually increasing globally. So I like how you're sort of taking a very holistic approach to the profitability and sustainability of this operation. Last question, if I still have time. Are you seeing opportunities for wider collaboration on a regional level, or maybe even not geographically regional, but other African countries that have similar productions or similar stakes, where you could perhaps even group some of those value chains to have more leverage on these markets?
Yes, actually, that's the direction that we're heading towards. That's really what we want, is to have a regional visibility, and also even to explore, because we're trying to explore international market, and collaboration with the neighboring countries and also even regionally would help us the most. Probably just to give an example, there are some gemstones that are quite famous in Malawi, others are in Zimbabwe and Zambia. So now more or less like having women in mining network in the 3 regions, and then we pull the gemstones together and then we export them, for example, or we collaborate with a country like Ghana, which produces a lot of gold, and they also have rings. You know how rings, they want to be mounted with gemstones. So that collaboration with Ghana would also help us now to go international and then have global market. And another idea that we had was, because Malawi, Zambia, Zimbabwe, and other countries, they also have the volume stones like the rose quartz. Apparently, all these countries, they are exporting to China. They are exporting to Germany. Why? Because technology is in Germany, is in China to process these gemstones. What if we collaborate with the companies that are in China, that are in Germany, that they set up a similar factory in Africa within the region, that now we are able to ship the gemstones just nearby, and then the value is being added in country. There's capacity transfer from those companies in the there's that capacity transfer, and then we export an end product into the global market, because now you can export anywhere. So instead of exporting jobs, forex, instead of exporting jobs like the way I said last time, now let's bring the jobs closer, let them stay in country, and then we export the end product. And if you also see, most of these countries, they are also in the construction phase, and even in the battery technology, which was just being mentioned, we will find a lot of these minerals within the region. So how do we collaborate with the companies that are manufacturing or that are processing, that they come closer to the source, and we cut on the transportation, the skills transfer, and there's also maximization of production. So that's my interest, and looking forward to collaborate with any company or people that are interested in such.
That's absolutely fantastic there, Elyvin. And I think with that, it's really interesting, almost, so whilst gemstones, etc., are very different from the materials that are needed within batteries, but it's similar to what Olivia was saying earlier, in terms of what can be moved in terms of where those tasks are undertaken. And I love the collaboration between those different women in mining across different parts of Africa. I'm on the board of Women in Mining UK, and women in mining in the UK is so different compared to mining in Malawi. It's really exciting.
Thank you.
Ludivine, did you have one more question that you wanted to pose?
Am I allowed? Thank you.
Yes,
so much.
Of course you are. Yeah.
I think one of the things that we're hearing is some states taking initiatives to build alternative value chains to basically compete with informal and illegal, and frankly, sometimes organized crime-driven production. The problem is that those initiatives are not always well accepted, because they're not negotiated and built with civil society or with the stakeholders. So I'm thinking in particular of some examples around gold between DRC and the UAE today. How did you get around that? Was there a specific sort of consultation process, or did you use that time of the pricing war to also get acceptance for the concept?
Okay, it's quite interesting, because I've been almost everywhere. The discussions around gold in Malawi started around in 2015, when there was a gold rush. And that time I was civil society working for Oxfam, and I was amongst the people that were pushing government that they need to play an active role in this. So the government decided in 2021 that they will start buying gold. But of course, it was more or less like one way that the president has said that the Reserve Bank start buying gold. And there was indeed quite a lot of resistance from the civil society. And that time I was also part of the civil society. Then eventually I changed hats and then I joined the initiative. So because of my background of civil society, we have tried to involve, or I am actually passionate about multi-stakeholder approach. So in our discussions, it's always the government there through the Ministry of Mining, Export Development Fund, the civil society networking, because that's my previous life and I can't completely forget, and all that. So we are indeed patronizing on multi-stakeholder approach. And my advice to other countries in such initiatives, it's always very important to engage different stakeholders, in particular the civil society, if you want to fight illegal mining, illegal trading, because they are the ones that are mostly closer to the communities. And in the community, that's when you are able to identify that this is a foreigner, this is a Malawian, this is operating with a license, this one doesn't have a license. So if you leave out such kind of people, or like such kind of groups, the civil society, then you've missed it. As government, let's always work closer to the civil society and also even to the miners themselves, because there are others that are doing illegal mining, not that they want to, but it's because they don't have full information or they don't know the right channels to get the information. I know my time is almost up, but yeah, that's it.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Elyvin, and thank you, Ludovine, for fielding the questions there as well. So brilliant. Elyvin, massive round of applause. Thank you as always. Brilliant.